fishing, sex slavery, prostitution.
Sex trafficking, something happening right here at home.
The crime, human trafficking.
The Texas city is one of the country's largest hubs for human trafficking.
I think the best way that we can learn about human trafficking is through the eyes of those who have actually suffered through it. My very first trafficking trial in Bexar County involved a 13-year-old girl. She was the second oldest of four. Her mom worked full-time. Her dad was in and out of her life. Her parents were divorced. He had been in and out of prison for drugs, and this child found herself in and out of trouble with juvenile as well. Sometimes she went to school, sometimes she didn't. She was actually on juvenile probation for having taken a knife to school. On this particular day, she decided that she would skip school, and she went down to the local convenience store and she picked up a lady that she knew from that store, and they went a few blocks over from her home to a house that was owned by two brothers. Now, these brothers were members of the Orejones gang. They had some criminal history for theft, for drugs, and what they did out of the home that they were living in was sell drugs to people. They had 6-foot marijuana plants growing in the backyard, and they had other drugs that they would purchase from people in the neighborhood and then sell. So on this day, she purchased some marijuana, and she was smoking that marijuana when she needed to go to the restroom. One of the brothers took her to the restroom and locked her behind a large metal door that they had on the inside of the house. And then they told the lady that she was with that she needed to get out of there, that she needed to go. And so the lady went back and forth looking for the child, but couldn't find her, and eventually she gave up. And about an hour to an hour and a half after that, they went to the door, they opened it, they physically grabbed her, and they hauled her to a bedroom across the way. They stripped her naked, they spread her eagle, and they tied her to the bed with the yellow nylon ropes that people use to tie things to their car, and then they raped her. And then they got the bright idea that they would keep her, and they would sell her, and for the next week and a half to 2 weeks, 20 different men paid $25 to rape a 13-year-old child, tied up, drugged up, and laying in her own urine and feces. That's human trafficking. That's human trafficking less than 5 miles from the Bexar County Courthouse in downtown San Antonio. That child was eventually rescued by a man who was offered the same opportunity, but who refused to take it. Instead, he grabbed her and literally ran her from the location. A few days later, she was picked up by juvenile probation, and it was there because of a probation officer who took the time to really inquire and really listen that her story came out. That probation officer was determined to see that case investigated, and for months, he worked with law enforcement until in October of that year, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office Human Trafficking Unit investigated the case. They obtained search warrants. They were able, with the help of the child, to identify not only the two brothers who were running the house, but 2 additional men who had paid to rape her. And that case was presented to our office. At that time, the Bexar County District Attorney's Office. We tried the case before a jury for the first brother, and the jury found the defendant guilty of super aggravated sexual assault, human trafficking, aggravated kidnapping, and compelling prostitution. And they asked us to come back and talk to them after the verdict. And so we did. Went back, sat down with them, and they said, listen, we have a message that we need you to give to the child. I said, okay, tell us what you want to tell her. And they said, you tell her that we gave life because she was worth it. We gave life because she was worth it. And that is a message that I have taken with me ever since. To every audience that I talk to about human trafficking, to every person that I get to share this story with. They gave life because she is worth it. And so is the life of every human trafficking victim that you may encounter in your daily life. Whether that's an adult or a child, whether that is someone from this country or another, whether that is a boy or a girl, a man or a woman. Every one of those lives is worth your time, your effort, and your willingness to report the suspicious things that you see.